this afternoon should take all of just a few minutes, I hope, to some 10-month interim financials. The first one is for the Redevelopment Agency, and I'm going to turn over to Brian or to Bob?
Yes,
Bob. Hello, Bob.
If I might. Hello, Bob Pearson, Finance Director. As you know, committee members, this being a non-quarter end month, that we don't have a formal presentation, but we're prepared, hopefully, to answer any questions. We know Brian is. Prepared to answer any questions, and the first of the two is the Redevelopment Agency interim financials for the 10 months. You know, again, I don't think there's much to say by way of background other than we're still expecting to get more property tax, because we do in May and June. We get them at the end of the year, and so the revenues, as you know, for property taxes in particular, don't arrive pro rata. But we are still expecting to exceed budget for the RDA on their tax increment property tax revenue. And we are prepared to try and answer any questions you might have on the expenditure side or the projects side. So.
Okay. So for the Redevelopment Agency, Mayor Bloom, do you have anything at first? Unless you, or just questions from us?
No, I just wanted to, I'm Brian Bossy, I'm the Acting Housing and Redevelopment Manager.
There you go.
I'll say that again, because I like to say it because I've only got a few more days.
There you go.
My name is Brian Bossy, and I'm the Acting Housing and Redevelopment Manager, and I'm here with Jeanette Kendo, one of our redevelopment specialists. And as Bob said, we're here to answer any questions you may have regarding the 10-month statements. So fire away.
Okay, questions?
No, I just had a little observation, because this is the first time I've seen a year-to-date revenues larger than the actuals, at least in, on the regular budget. So, and this one, I guess it's because of the property taxes that are coming in, because those have been going up. Is there just...
You're looking at page 1?
Yeah, yeah. Is there a delay in time, because we pay our property taxes on, what is it, the 10th of April and mid-December?
December and then April.
Is it about a 1 to 2 month? You said some more will be coming in.
Well, the bulk
work?
of the property tax revenue we get paid to us by the county comes within 30 days after those two property tax payment dates. It's apparent to me that some people pay their property taxes for the entire year well in advance of the first December due date, so we get a slug of property taxes even in November. But the biggest payment is in early January, right after the December payment, and then the next one in May after the April rather payment due date. But there are still stragglers, and the other thing is that as you may recall, we are on with our county. Our county is what's called a teeter plan county, and I think Teeter was a legislator way back in the day that sponsored legislation, and under the Teeter plan, the county commits to paying us 100% of the levy, regardless of whether they've actually collected the money from the taxpayer. And you might ask, well, why would the county like to do that? And the answer is because in return for that, they get to keep all penalties and interest that accrue on late payments. And so oftentimes, even if someone hasn't paid by the April 15th payment date, but before the end of the fiscal year, the county has to true it up, if you will, by paying us the balance of the uncollected property taxes. Now, obviously, they don't do that until they know the people aren't going to pay, but so that's why we oftentimes get fairly substantial payments in May and June.
Okay. Well, interesting. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Just as an opportunity to ask about some progress on some projects. First off, the West Beach improvements. I see things are working. Any just a status on that, and then also the Thompson, the Veracruz Park. It seems it's on full construction mode, and I guess part of it is I'm wondering as you're going to bid for some of these, if you're finding more competitive bid market like we had with the fire station, if you're finding that with other projects.
Sure. I'd be happy to jump into those. First, with West Beach, as you know, our Planning Commission approval has been appealed, and we're working to resolve that appeal. We're working with the Audubon Society as well as the Environmental Defense Center to work that out, but at the same time, we are continuing to move forward on the design process, so it shouldn't hinder that progress too much. So that's the status of West Beach.
And I actually meant to say East Beach, too, because that is under construction. And,
Yeah.
and that seems to be going according.
Gangbusters,
We're-
yes.
we're
It's going
doing-
quite well.
Okay.
They're moving very rapidly. Good progress
Good.
out on East Cabrillo. So that's West Beach. East Beach, Plaza Veracruz is progressing as well. And I believe they're scheduled to be complete in July, so about another month of work. It could be sooner than that. It sure looks like they're making much more progress than we originally anticipated by this point. In regards to the bidding environment, yes, we are receiving much more competitive bids and at much lower prices than we could have hoped for. And I think that's just a sign of the economy, but it's good for us. We see, whereas in previous construction projects, you'd see one or two people bidding on it, and sometimes you'd have to pull some teeth to even get folks to bid on it when the economy was much better. Now we're seeing 8, 10, 12 people coming after jobs. So it's
So it stretches our public dollars a
it
little more, which
sure
is
does,
nice.
significantly more.
Okay. So knowing that, is there a movement to sort of expedite going to bid on some other things, or what's? I mean, you might as well strike while the iron's hot, kind of thing, or.
That's a good point. You know, we try to expedite all of our projects all the time, but we are seeing. I've been looking at our projects, and as you map out the progress, we're hoping. I don't know if I want to say that, hoping that the economy stays the way it is. I don't think we want that, but we are trying to take advantage of the current situation as best we can with all of our projects and push them and get them out to bid as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay.
And we're working with Public Works to make that happen.
Great.
Good.
Great. Well, we need a motion to move this over to consent.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. There we go. And just to publicly thank you, Brian and Jeanette and Dave Gustafson, for the last few months. I know you were working with not fully staffed under this interim. Everyone had an interim title next to their name at some point. A lot of people did, but it seemed seamless on my end at least. So I just want to acknowledge that and thank you and welcome back to your current, former, whatever we're calling it, positions in the next week or so.
Back to normal.
Back to the future, right? Back to normal. Okay. Thank you. So that's the first item. The second one is the financial statements for the non-RDA, for the regular budget. Item number 2. Ms. Pearson.
And if I might, Bob Pearson again. Before we offer to answer any questions you might have on that, I did want to make a couple comments about revenue. Not in big picture wise, but just specifically about a couple of them. You know that the most recent TOT numbers we got for the month of April were not particularly encouraging. In fact, April TOT was down 8.6%. We are starting to look a little bit more at things, trying to be a little more nuanced in our view of that. For example, at a recent Conference and Visitors Bureau luncheon, we were talking to some people and hoteliers from the visitor serving industry, and they pointed out, but there was actually one less weekend than there was a year ago in that month, and so we're trying to start to look a little more carefully at those kinds of things before we, hit the panic button at seeing TOT down, for example, 8.6% in 1 month. I would say that we do need, in order to make our year-end TOT estimates, we need about 4% growth for May and June. And we will, of course, know May's numbers within the next, 10 days or so. And the other big thing that's becoming in the next 2 weeks or so is the updated numbers for our sales tax for the quarter that ended March 31st. And, of course, that is a big one for us. We basically projected in our year-end projections for flat, 0. And so hopefully that's a conservative enough estimate that it'll turn out that we'll be able to meet that. But by the middle of this month, once we have the May TOT and the March 31 quarter end sales tax number in, we'll really have a much better handle on where we think we're going to end up the year. With that, I'd turn it over to Rudy. I don't know if you have anything to
No, not generally. We have been, we were just at council a couple of weeks ago giving a report on the third quarter, and this is just a update from here. Things, the expenditure side in the general fund is still staying in line with what we reported at that last meeting, so, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have about any of these specific items on here.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, it looks very normal.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, I
we
didn't
just had
see
so many updates, and it seems pro forma, so it looked fine to me this time around. So I'll entertain a motion to put this on consent.
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
That was easy.
I think we're done.
Yes, I think we've
Yeah.
had plenty of meetings about money lately. So. Great. Okay, well,
budget
this
things, yeah.
meeting's adjourned.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.